books excessively and internet and just the tutorials on this.
That's cool. And you're like a Khan Academy subscriber?
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome, Rosh. We'll keep it up. And, I think some of these guys out here, they might be looking to fund your startup in maybe 10 years or so. All right, buddy. Here, take some swag and keep on being a nerd. Thanks. Let's give it a big round of applause for this guy. Thanks, buddy. That's awesome.
Wow.
When I was 11, I think I was still playing with crayons.
11.
Yeah.
What was I doing? 11.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah. I wasn't that smart, though.
I definitely didn't know if I was a geek or a nerd.
That's right. All right.
Okay, so we're going to head straight to our fourth
panel.
Yes.
Panel D.
Which is the startup best practices and Philippine startup success stories. And we're going to hear from the founders themselves.
That's awesome.
So, to introduce our panel and kick it off with a speech, we'd like to call on... Is she here?
She's there by the snack table.
She's there by the snack table.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think she's being pitched.
She's being pitched. All right. So let's call on the president once again of Kickstart Ventures, Miss Minette Navarrete.
Let's put our hands together for Minette, guys. Come on.
How about you, Minette? Can you dance?
Come on, Minette.
Not been my skill set. Hi, good afternoon to everyone. So let me see. I'm supposed to start with startup best practices and Philippine success stories. I think you're going to get the success stories later. So this is kind of tailored to the startups in the audience. And just a few thoughts around best practices, which essentially, we won't claim to know everything, but we will say that this is what we've learned over the past few months or so. So first, an introduction, and this is about Kickstart. So what do? Kickstart, we're an incubator investment firm. And we have to say both words because in the Philippines, you actually need both. I think an investment firm is not sufficient at this stage in the ecosystem's development. We do 4 things essentially. We fund, and you'll see, seed to Series A. We have a focus on digital and over the top. We bring in training and mentoring. If you thought Jojo had a soapbox, my soapbox is mentoring. It is critical to have the right mentors. And by that, I mean a diversity of mentors, people with broad experience, different experience. So we bring in mentors from everywhere. Sometimes they're corporates in Philippines. Sometimes they're startup founders in Philippines. Sometimes they're corporates investors from overseas. Market access. One of the things that is a very scarce resource is the openness of corporations. And I think I heard Earl refer to that earlier this morning. It isn't going to work if you've got a great startup, but you can't get customers, you can't get vendors, you cannot get partners to come and work with you. Ultimately, to scale, you will come up against corporations. And one of the things that we find important is somebody to open the door. We do not cut the deals for the startup founders, but we will open the door that just gets you a foot in so you can come in and close the deal yourselves. The other thing is partnerships, and I just noticed that we have all these P's. So we've got quite a lot of partners in the audience. Proud Cloud, Jay Fajardo is a partner for our Launch Garage Accelerator program. Jojo Flores is a partner for Plug and Play Tech Center. We will bring startups to Silicon Valley. And we've got a Kickstart outpost in their office there. And Pollenizer, which is not here, is an Australian startup creator. So Phil Morrell was recently voted I think the most valuable mentor in Australia, and he's going to be in the Philippines in a couple of weeks or so. So that's what we do. What we've done, I'm not going to read it, just a few things over the past 17 months since we incorporated. The stats are important because what you have done is much more important than what you say you're going to do or what you do. And In some ways, it looks like a lot of things. In some ways, it's not enough. As you keep hearing in this conference, there is so much work to be done in the Philippines. There's such a lot we need to do. We're a young company. We've been around less than 2 years. We're new. We're learning. We're trying new things. And these are the things that we're learning. So, startup best practices. First of all, there is no playbook. There isn't a standard list of things to do. But these are the things that we have observed in the 15, 16 companies that we've invested in. First of all, the idea. And this is a funny thing. Everybody jealously guards their idea. They think that the idea is the main thing. And this isn't a new thing. When I was in Unilever in 1990s, so there was this book, and I don't know how many people in the audience have read this, Built to Last. Kylie's read it. So, BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. It's important to have the clarity of what you're doing, what you're building. It's important to be able to articulate it, to have a clear start and a clear end line, because you've got to have that unifying element that helps you decide priorities, that helps you rally the troops, that helps you set a plan of action. That was 1994. Fast forward to 2012. Paul Graham, what does he talk about? He talks about frighteningly ambitious startup ideas. And again, it's about, something that is just on the right side of impossible. And I think this is something that resonates with the crowd here. So how many of you have ever said, you go big or you go home? Right? And that's important. It's important because you've got to have something that you are walking towards, that you're working towards. But it's also important, equally important, that this isn't a fuzzy, fluffy, delusional target. It's important that this is driven by customer insight, real customers, not your friends, not your inner circle, not just you. It's important that you harden it with validation and testing and being out in the market. It's important to not lose sight of the big dream, but equally important to have a clear view of where you are today and what the steps are needed to get there. Next up, after the idea, the team. What have we learned about the teams? I like this phrase, T-shaped teams and T-shaped individuals. I don't know if that's a familiar term to everyone here, but basically, a T-shaped individual is somebody who's got an understanding of a broad range of things and then deep, deep, deep expertise in one subject area. And that's important because a startup, while it needs to focus and create things, it also needs to see the big picture and to understand the context that it operates in. Diversity also is important. You've got to have different points of view. The obvious thing when people talk about diversity is gender and ethnicity. I'm going to say that's not the critical thing. I think gender and ethnicity, the demographics, those are incidental. The real important diversity is the diversity in terms of skill sets and the diversity in terms of attitudes, because that's your reality check. Grit and gumption, I think somebody on a panel earlier mentioned. The ability to overcome adversity and the ability to seize the opportunities when they're there. No egos, one of the most important things. There are a lot of teams where you think you've got people, when the individuals think that they're more important than the other individuals, or God forbid that they are more important than the dream and the idea and the execution, that's like a death knell for startups. You will notice what's not on the list is educational qualifications. Education is important, and we have seen in our subset that people with some education will achieve more because they have an ability to use certain frameworks and to discipline themselves. But experience always trumps education. Other things that spike great talent, and I agree with the earlier panels that say there's such a lot of talent around. But the things that spike talent, a lone founder. because it's hard and you need somebody to tell you that you are not insane when you are trying for something that is very, very difficult. Unclear leadership. Here's the other side of that. Sometimes in teams, it isn't clear who's making the calls and who's got to make the call. And there will be a lot of difficult calls that need to be made. Egos. All these things, these will spike your execution. Execution. You hear it over and over and over again. Execution is gold. Ideas, there are lots of them. There is no scarcity of a great idea. Execution, that's very scarce. We believe in lean, we believe in customer first. It's important for us to understand that constraints are a good thing because we have seen startup teams implode when they got too much money and they started to use it to attend, sexy conferences like this one. And they used all their money for conferences, and then they sort of ran out for execution. Being driven by customer and data, I think as, the opportunity, as Paul said earlier, the opportunity is important. That's what should drive you. Constant measuring. It's the ability to set aside your own vision, your own delusions, and your own opinions and biases, and look at what the customer tells you, and be able to pivot, be able to adapt to what the market says. So always, always, the execution is what matters to us. One more thing about product, as we get to the next slide. Does not require explanation. A product that exists, at some point, a brilliant pitch is not going to cut it. A brilliant pitch is not going to drive success. Bring the product, do the demo, show that it works, show that you have users, and more importantly, that you have usage. 100,000 Facebook likes is nice, but if I see that there isn't any usage of the product, that if people sign up and abandon it, even if they paid, you're not going to get a renewal of a subscription if you don't see the usage of the product on a regular basis. Paying customers. You don't get them on day one, but it's important to have a reasonable shot at monetization. You need to have the ability to show that someday someone sees your product as valuable enough that they're going to pay you for it. So in summary, 4 points, right? A robust idea, a diverse and disciplined team, methodical execution, and a product with happy, engaged customers. Not too much to remember, not too many things. There are 1,000 things that will crop up and that will distract you. And as a founder, you've got to learn to avoid all the distraction. So one last thing on focus, and I'm going to mention something that said, I think somebody put this on a Facebook chat before. Eric Sue, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Don't get distracted. You're a startup founder, you're here for one purpose, and that is to get your startup up and running in the hands of users, used every day, paid for. That's the main thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minette. We'll call up our other speakers of the panel to get this panel discussion started.
Thank you.
All right, so for our panel chairman,
We have Jack Madrid from the Digital Commerce Association of the Philippines. He's the president there, and prior to that, he was responsible for the management and operations of Multiply Philippines. He was also the country manager of Yahoo Philippines, the local operations of which he built as the leading digital news and content provider. From 2006 to 9, Jack managed Dell's customer support organization in the Philippines, and from 2004 to 6, he was the managing director for MTV. Let's put our hands together and welcome Jack Madrid.
Next up, we have Mark Buenconsejo, the CEO and co-founder of caresharing.com. Their mission is to make a positive impact in people's well-being. They build software solutions that help them and their customers achieve that. He started his programming career a little early than usual at 17 years old. He started as a systems administrator and a freelance programmer and became an entrepreneur, which led him to a few startup ventures like Learning to Go and Simple Tech. Other projects he's involved in are Buhay Startup, Runru, Tweetito, Coder School, Coder Dojo Cebu, Startup Weekend Cebu, and Tech Talks PH. Let's put our hands together for Mark.
That's great. Our third panelist today will be Stephen Jagger. He is passionate about using technology and software and helping it solve the world's biggest problems in healthcare, social, and education. Stephen speaks to groups of all sorts, including real estate conferences and entrepreneur organization chapters, EO, around the world. Recently, Stephen was asked to rewrite parts of the BC Real Estate Association manual that all realtors need to read to pass the real estate course, and he has spoken for many of the real estate associations across Western Canada. He has spoken at many different events, including Inman News Connect 2007 in San Francisco, where he was on the panel of 4 with a representative from Google, Yahoo, and the Yellow Pages, and in 2009 in New York on a panel discussing blogging. He's currently the co-founder of Payroll Hero. Let's welcome Stephen.
And now we have Alvin Gendrano. He's the director of Microsoft Philippines. Alvin is a global software industry veteran with wide-ranging business and technology experiences from P&L ownership, business and operations management, business strategy and execution, development, cloud computing, online gaming, and consumer e-commerce. He also ran a global technical services delivery practice with staff in Shanghai, Bangalore, Egypt, and Europe. He is passionate to help grow local software after 15 years competing in the global software industry. Let's all put our hands together and welcome Mr. Alvin Gendrano.
And our last but certainly not least panelist is Stefano Fazzini. He's the co-founder and CEO of Twit Music, previously head of marketing at Ital Food Distribution, which has acquired high-volume clients and increased annual sales from 4 million to 6 million in 2 years. Now, I'll just go on. Twit Music is an awesome startup. They're based in Manila. They actually receive funding from 500 startups. So, Stefano, come on up.
All right, that's it. These are our speakers for the next panel. And Jack, take it away.
Okay. It's this is the last panel, I think, so obviously not easy to wind down, but let's have ourselves some fun, shall we? You know, Minette was absolutely right in saying that there is no playbook for what constitutes a promising or a successful startup, but she certainly laid down a very good template of what that playbook might look like if we were to build such a playbook. But I think this is going to be a very interesting session because we have here 4 quite diverse startups in different stages of your evolution. And I think it's just a perfect way to conclude the afternoon after we saw and heard from the first panel about the evolution of the startup ecosystem in the Philippines. And that very interesting session on how to fund startups, how to raise money. So after you go through all those hoops, right? You go through the ecosystem, you've built the team, you've raised your first round or your second round, and now we have the task of really drilling down and figuring out what does it really take to make a promising and successful startup. So maybe we can ask, I'm just going to pick on who I will ask first. Maybe we can pick on Alvin. With your extensive experience in Microsoft, working with hundreds and hundreds of startups here in the Philippines and Southeast Asia, perhaps you can, share a few insights into, how that evolution has been, and based on your experience, what does a successful or promising startup actually look like?
Sure thing, Jack. So, for background, Microsoft supports startups here and abroad. And when I came back to the Philippines in about 2010, we had a program called BizSpark that provides free software to startups, right? And when I came, the interesting thing was that there was only 100 startups in the BizSpark database at the time, right? And today, as of the end of June, there's almost 1,000 startups in BizSpark. And this is just the startups that are taking advantage of this offer. And many of you, I'd imagine, are not even there. But just to get a sense, there's at least 1,000 startups in the Philippines today. Right? And from those startups, especially the ones in our network and the ones that we've worked with, there are three major patterns of success that I'd like just to share with you today. And the first pattern of success, I think, are those startups with a charismatic leader. And I think we're joined with some startups here, really, with very charismatic leaders. I think they're great examples of them. But another startup that's really impressed me, at least in terms of charismatic leadership, is Orange Apps. So Orange Apps is led by this young guy. His name is Gian Havilona, right? And Gian has been interviewed many times in a lot of TV stations, right? He's gotten investments from different parties here in the Philippines. Idea Space is onto them as well. He's met MVP. Chot Reyes is an investor in ideas in a startup called Orange Apps. Right? Really very charismatic guy. And he doesn't have any problems getting money. Right? He doesn't have any problems getting the best talent and resources because he has such a great vision. Right? And he's so very charismatic. So that's the first pattern of success, charismatic leadership. The second pattern of success, I think, is something that Minette mentioned earlier, and that's execution. So the example I'll provide is of a startup called TimeFree. Right? TimeFree provides queuing services. So this is a startup that provides a way for you to queue, and then you don't need to line up. But the interesting thing is that the idea of queuing software is actually very common. Right? Every startup weekend that we've helped organize, there's been at least one or two queuing startups. What differentiates TimeFree is their ability to execute. Somehow, they've been able to target customers willing to pay for their queuing solution. Like Earl mentioned earlier, they have $100,000 worth of paying customers today, right? And really, they just became commercial just in the course of the last 6 months. So really very compelling. And then the third, and I'll stop at 3, of course there are many, and the third pattern of success that I've seen are those startups that have started with a local niche and have then gone global. The example that I'll provide is this company from Mindanao. It's called Accelerate Desk. So what they do is they provide GSM tracking, right? So GPS tracking for trucks. So they started off in Mindanao, where you have a lot of trucks going from plantation to plantation, and they provided the service, the software, to some enterprises there, right? And then earlier this year, they had the opportunity to go to India for the Asian Development Bank's Governors Conference. And at the Asian Development Bank's Governors Conference, what they found out was that their solution can actually be used not just for delivery, but also imagine microcredit institutions, right? Folks that go out in the field, you want to maintain and make sure that these folks giving out money and collecting money are secure. So what better way to keep track of their security and where they are at any given point in time than using GPS? So now they're working very closely with the Asian Development Bank to commercialize their solution specific for this particular industry. So lots of patterns of success. And really, we're seeing a lot of great growth in the startup ecosystem here in the Philippines.
Okay, thanks, Alvin. So far, based on what Alvin has said, we are looking for a charismatic leader who can execute, who has a business plan that has a global market. Okay, so Stephen, Stephen is from Vancouver, and he's been in the Philippines for 2 years, co-founder of Payroll Hero. another budding success story. Do you agree with Alvin on what he just said? We can disagree in this panel, by the way.
Yeah, sure. I don't have any disagreements. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But for us, as far as it goes for us, being in the Philippines and what we've been trying to do, one of the things that we found was helpful for us is operating as if we would operate back at home. One of the things we didn't necessarily like about the Philippines is that we went and looked at a lot of different call centers and BPOs when we originally came to outsource some of our work, and we found that the desks were really tiny, and as wide as the guy's shoulders were as big as his desk was, and they're working on garbage computers and single old school monitors. And so we came in with the idea of that we want our people to work on the best gear and have proper tools and spend our money on things that matter to us. So if anybody's ever been to our office, everybody's on a Mac, everybody's got dual monitors, everybody's got a full-size desk. The floors have not been completed. Our curtains are garbage bags. We spend the money on the stuff that we think matters from an employee point of view to help, enjoy their work using good tools. We'd get more value out of what we're trying to do here. So,
but what kind of advice would you give a startup, though, who cannot afford, that kind of a workspace? Because normally startups are, they're done out of garages and a bootstrap kind of budget. Mm-hmm. So how do you marry that?
We made some bootstrapping decisions for our business. We didn't start off necessarily doing that. We started our first companies in our houses of our parents' house, right? I learned a lesson a long time ago when I had my parents. I was working in my parents' house starting our first company, and we chose to go with a residential phone line instead of a business phone line. I didn't really understand the difference until someday somebody came to my house looking to pay a bill, and I realized, my phone number is attached to my parents' home address, and it got really, awkward, and we figured out how, cutting costs is not necessarily the right way to go. And so we've worked all the way up trying to cut costs, make good decisions on what makes the most sense for us. So people come, like I say, people come to the office and make fun of our curtains, but we don't care about the curtains. It doesn't make us any more money if we have nice, fancy curtains. We just need to block the sun. And so we don't spend any money on that. We literally hang garbage bags. And so I think we make our decisions on how to cut costs or how to spend our money. If you've got less money or smaller budgets or whatever, everybody makes their own decisions on what they should do.
In your experience, do investors or VCs look at how prudent you are with spending?
Not necessarily. We find that when investors, I hear it all the time from investors, when they'll talk to a startup or a business, and they'll say, the startup will say, well, we've got all this happening and we haven't spent any money on marketing. And investors, at least from what I've heard from them, don't like to hear that. They want you to spend the money on the marketing. They want you to test things. They want you to figure it out. They're not looking for, so far it's working and we don't really know how. And so our investors at least are behind us on testing ideas, spending money on the whole concept of failing fast. Spending some money quickly, figure out if it's working or not. If it's working, spend more. If it's not, cut it, try something else, and keep going. And that's why you raise money, is to go faster and figure out what works so that you can grow a business.
Okay, one of the things that thank you, Stephen. One of the things that Minette also mentioned earlier is really the importance of the team, right? So maybe we can shift the conversation a little bit to talent. Mark, would you have any comments based on your extensive experience with your company?
I think talent is, I would say, very, very important. And I think based on the topic for this panel, for example, that I think talent is always one of the major challenges for a startup here in the Philippines. There's a lot of discussions about good talents going out of the country. And I think that is something that as a startup or as a community would be hard to change, because it's always been, that kind of mindset has been set for a while. So what we did so far, what we realized is that is something we cannot change. So we have to sort of improvise. We have to be able to survive. And I think the same as what Stefan mentioned about creating a good startup culture in your office. So from the get-go, even from the beginning, because I've been doing the startup for a while now. So even from the beginning, even if we are still in the Philippines, we could already replicate the same kind of environment. And the environment does not have to do with very expensive equipment, or maybe have all the fuzzball, all the, I don't know what you have in, let's say, you see in a Google office or maybe in a Facebook office. but giving the right kind of environment, for example, that you don't have to clock in 8 hours every day, 8 to 5. We don't have Bundy clock. We started in an apartment with lots of cockroaches, rats. So we started back then. I mean, for us, it was like we want to do something. We want to start. We want to group ourselves. We're a group of programmers. We just want to pick an apartment so that at least we could be able to work together and then start coding. And along the way, we sort of like get the experience, gain the resources, and hopefully then attract the right kind of talent. But one thing we learn over the years is that talent is always a trial and error process. So you have to be able to have the resilience, have the attitude to really, really get the right kind of talent here in the Philippines, and have to, I think, cultivate. Cultivate is very important, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Maybe we can pick the brains of Stefano here, who's trying to build his own Silicon Valley in Salcedo Village, Makati. You have, 9 employees in your company?
Yeah, 9 right now.
So can you share with us your experiences so far with respect to the topics like, building the team, the right, work environment to encourage, collaboration and motivation in your startup?
Yeah. So basically, in Twit Music, we go by the theory that there's a fundamental pillar, which is passion, right? So if any startup or any leader or any team has the passion in what they're building, it all trickles down to the 3 sub-pillars, which I think are execution, team building, and finding non-traditional ways of achieving results, such as growth. So for example, in Twit Music, we have our entire team. They're fully passionate in what we want to do because we want to build such a great product and achieve a goal which we think is very big and audacious. And this trickles down to execution, to building that culture of execution within our startup, because that's fundamental to kind of rapidly build and deploy features and iterate according to the lean startup principles. And another thing we believe is that team building is a fundamental issue among startups here and all over the world. So finding someone who's great at building a great team and leading them is fundamental. But also, I think one important thing is that startups should recognize the fact that they should think out of the box and find always non-traditional ways or methods to grow your company. And yeah, that's the kind of principles we abide by.
Hey, thanks, Stefan. So Stefano here has added to our list of characteristics to look for in our startup, CEO profile. He added passion, energy, and ability to build a team. Now, I guess it's probably a good time to talk about this topic of culture. Because in my own experiences with startup companies, I think establishing the right culture is equally critical, and I think that begins really with the leader of a company, and whether the leader walks the talk, whether he exhibits the right behavior, and many of the attributes that we've talked about so far. So maybe we can ask Steven again, on what are your thoughts about culture? How did you establish culture in Payroll Hero?
Sure. So we're a little bit, I guess, unique in what we do. We struggled a little bit to find engineers in the Philippines. We looked for Ruby on Rails engineers. We couldn't find enough. We pay $51,000 US a year for an engineer that
51,000. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
But not for we were looking for not a junior engineer. We wanted to take somebody in that's got the skills we need so we can move fast. We just don't have the time to train them up because we want to move quickly. And so for us, that's what we were trying to do. And we struggled to find enough engineers here. And so one of the things we decided to do was engineering talent is a problem, I think, everywhere. Every sort of city all over the world struggles with finding engineers, paying engineers. Facebook struggles with it, Twitter struggles, everybody's struggling with it. Like, I'm from Vancouver, Facebook was supposed to open 150 engineering office, 150 person engineering office in Vancouver. We've just found it's going to be 500 engineers now. So it makes it difficult for the engineering talent now in Vancouver, and Twitter's doing the same thing. Salesforce is there. So what we decided to do was come up with the concept of adventure engineering. And so there's a lot of engineers out there that a lot of them like the idea of travel, working hard, playing hard, kind of that concept. So
can you explain to the audience what adventure engineering means?
Yeah, so what we wanted to do is we didn't want to pay $150,000 a year to engineers. We wanted to find a way to pay them less but offer them things that we could offer them that made us unique. And so what we did was we opened a second office in Whistler in Canada, little ski village, and we chase very specifically what we call adventure engineers. And it's basically somebody that's got an interest in the outdoors, that wants to work hard, play hard, wants to downhill ski, wants to downhill bike, or from the Asian point of view, wants to work in the Philippine office and do 4-day weekends wherever they want, and kind of see Southeast Asia for a 90-day period. And so we figured we could use these two aspects to find unique engineers that fit the mold that we wanted, where we can pay them less and offer them these things. And it's been working out fantastic for us. The last 4 engineers we've hired we found an Indian guy in Vietnam that we moved to the Philippines for a while, and now he's working in Canada. We found a guy in Paris that's come to work in Whistler who wants to come here. Like, it's become really effective for us at being different, utilizing the Philippines and this Whistler office to make us look unique. And so now it's not necessarily about a cash thing of how much can we pay, what's the equity we'll give. It's more about the whole package around our adventure engineering push. And it's been, for us, very successful.
That's certainly very interesting, Stephen, because many other companies, not even in the internet, do cross-posting, right? But the way you're doing it for different reasons. One is employee retention, and maybe as a way of, I guess the new work ethic that's, and I guess a set of motivators that young people or engineers are looking for now goes beyond financial.
Totally.
So, your concept of adventure engineering suggests that, work satisfaction goes beyond money, and maybe you're delivering that through a diversity of experience.
Just looking basically happy, healthy employees was kind of the key. And money is not necessarily everything people are looking for.
Jack, we have a question from the audience here.
Okay.
When it comes to culture, like, what can you say, I'll target to them, what can you say about remote work, like engineers who want to work remotely? What can you say about that, and what do you think about that? Yeah.
Well, I think this is not an uncommon practice. Increasingly, I think we are evolving into a world of freelancers, I think, and I think talent being scarce based on the input so far, I think really we're going to be moving towards a global marketplace of talent wherein you don't really need to be in the same place physically. So does anyone here want to comment on this question? I mean, what have been your experiences in remote, people working in remote locations? Mark?
I think I could share a bit of based on experience, because before care sharing we do a lot of projects during simple times. So I think working remote, even now with care sharing, we also have an office in Netherlands. We also have an office here in Cebu. It's always a bit of a challenge. But one thing that is very important is that sort of like set a good time frame. Let's say we have a concept of holy hour. So we always work between 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. So sort of like an agreement that even if you're remote, you have to be easily available. So you have to go online and Skype. And I think before, let's say for example, you're strangers and then you came to the Philippines and say you're looking for a programmer. I think I've talked to a lot of foreigners like this. I think most of my projects from the past started also something like this. I think it's very good that you have a personal connection. You go here, you meet the person, then you have to sort of like base it on your gut. This is somebody you could trust. Then take it easy. Maybe start with a small project. Then over time, once you build the connection, once you build your relationship, then you could sort of like, then we could do something more. Now, one thing that is always a challenge here is that I would say related to market access. And that is, if you say you have a remote programmer, and then you are somebody in Silicon Valley, for example, and you're building a product, and it's sort of like delegating a lot of product design decision to somebody in the Philippines, that is always has been a challenge. So I don't know, for us, it's sort of like, I don't know, maybe we got a bit lucky because the product we have, sort of like, most of it was designed here in Cebu, but I also have a co-founder who's Dutch, but he has a lot of inside experience and knowledge around healthcare. So for us, even if it's remote, we were still able to develop a product that sort of like have a good market fit there. But we also have a lot of good partners in Holland. So, but if I go back to, for example, working with a remote team, I think that has always been a challenge. So you have to find, I think, a good basis where everybody works together at the same time, and then works consistently, I think.
So based on your reply, Mark, you're suggesting that working from remote locations could work, but the CEO or whoever is running the company needs to be very hands-on, obviously, and a high-touch manager.
Yeah, and I think you have to also fly back and forth. So you have to be in the market because I don't think you could build a product or build a company if you don't know where you are selling for, what you are selling for. So I think that, you just need to create a bridge. So your top people, it could be your CEO, could be the product person, forms the bridge. And then you could have both teams. Some team focus on marketing, selling, and support. Then you have a base of team here in the Philippines that does the product development. And I think it's a very common setup because I think somebody mentioned about having the unfair advantage. And in the Philippines, we actually have a very good unfair advantage, which is there's a lot of people here. So there's a lot of IT graduates, there's a lot of computer science graduates. And if you have a good environment, for example, to take somebody fresh graduate to somebody building something at Google scale, for example, then you would always have that unfair advantage that, let's say, for example, you would go to the US, and then you sort of have that kind of back-end support, that whatever is the challenge in the US, you could always execute it back in the Philippines at maybe half the cost.
Stephen, do you necessarily agree with that?
Well, we don't like remote workers necessarily. In our world, you're either working in one of the other offices. The reason we don't like it is it's kind of a siloed guy. If we do, which we are doing next week, we've hired an iOS guy to come work with us for a little bit. We'll, instead of just hiring some random person that's going to help us in a specific thing we want to achieve and let him or her do it from wherever they are, we would rather pay a little bit more for the flight and get him to our team so that we want to suck the knowledge out of his or her head, not just have him build the thing that we need him to build. We'd rather do some pair programming and try to get some knowledge transfer. So at least at the end of it, with the addition of a cost of a flight or a hotel room or whatever it might be, that our team is also smarter for hiring that external worker.
I have a question from the audience. They're asking, what are your thoughts on hiring interns or like OJTs, as we call them here in the Philippines, and really training them? And specifically, is that successful? Is that working for you guys?
Interns?
Yeah. So basically, we've actually hired one intern, and it's working out really well. We just, you need a team to kind of grow them and build them to become that developer or designer that you want. So we're actually very open to hiring interns to our company.
I would like to add for that one because before we used to have a coder school. It's an internship program, 3-month program, similar to I think most internship in the US. So basically we take students, third year to fourth year, they would apply for it, and we give them the 3-month full program as if you're building an actual product. And based on our experience, the interns sort of like absorb in the company. It was a good filter. It's a good filter to be able to say if this person has a really good potential to eventually become a very great programmer. But one thing we noticed is that an intern here in the Philippines is very, very different than the intern in the US. The kind of, I would say, mindset, for example, the kind of things they look forward to. Here in the Philippines, we're brought up with an education system that tells us to follow things, for example, to get good grades, for example, to sort of like do things based on the book. But if in a startup, you just cannot afford people by the book. If people are go by the book, somehow, some way, you're gonna get stuck somewhere. And this is what we experience with interns, is that along the way you have to do a lot of guidance. So in our case, we're a bit fortunate because we started by programmers, so we have a very good programming culture from the beginning. So we sort of like it was a bit I would say not very easy, but it was natural for us to get somebody from start to just graduated a computer science to somebody who's say building frameworks, for example, at Google scale. But beyond that, it's always a challenge, I think. But it will work. It will work. So you just need to have a good programming culture, I think.
Any last thoughts, guys, on this issue of talent and hiring?
Can we have people stop putting their height, weight, and religion on resumes? Nobody gives a shit.
Great suggestion. That is a pet peeve. That's awesome. Now, one sensitive topic in our culture here, whether you're in the internet or elsewhere, is really, I mean, it's easy enough. Anyone can really hire and build a team, right? I think to even have a chance of being successful, you got to be a good, be able to spot talent. But in my own experience, I find it harder to find a CEO who is actually able to hire fast and fire even faster. Because the risk of hiring the wrong employee is, to me, one of the biggest risks, at least in my own experience. And I just was wondering what you guys think. I mean, has that been an issue for you guys? I mean, hiring someone and then you got to let this person go because he's just not working out. Any thoughts?
We're happy to fire people if they don't fit. We just feel like if you don't fit. We're wasting your time, we're wasting our time. We kind of believe in the interview process. We'll interview you. Usually it's my business partner, Mike, interviews an engineer. That's only part of the process. Then we'll make a pair program with one of our team, and then depending on what the engineer that works for us, what he says about the work product of that person really matters, and then we'll send out all the engineers and the recruit for beers. And then after that, the next day, then we want to know, does he culturally fit with us? Like, how is he when he's not in interview mode? What's he like having dinner and drinks and relaxing? And what's he like as a normal human? What's he like?
Do you think the interview process is an effective way to screen candidates? Because I have very mixed feelings. Aside from seeing stuff that shouldn't be on a CV that you just mentioned, this whole interview process could go either way, right?
No,
some people are just good interviewers.
I think it's I think it's the same everywhere. It's not only in the Philippines. I think interviewing is always very hard because you're only given maybe one day, maybe a few hours to sort of like make a decision, make a judgment call. I think this is also something that is very hard to change here in the Philippines. A lot of people, as I get told, if I hire somebody, I have to go through the process of firing them. And firing is not always easy. I mean, there's no way to make it easy. So there's always an emotional toll to it. I think everybody in the office are actually listening to my talk now, so hopefully they will, because I've hired and fired people already. And I think if I look at it, because I did a lot of firing already, I think you just have to do a lot of communication. You have to talk to the person, and if it's not a good fit, they will know, and you will also know, and everybody will also know. And the idea there is that you have to sort of like show the door. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a person to person. You have to make that personal connection and say, this thing is not going to work. If we push through with this, there's just a lot more frustration. There's a lot more stress, and along the way, you just have to. Then you have to make the call. Let's say, you're done maybe end of the month, maybe 2 months. Then you give a separation pay. So I think it's a typical business kind of work, I think.
Great. Any last thoughts, Stefano, Alvin, before we wrap this session up? I mean, I feel we could go on for another 30 minutes, but I am getting the sign, so we better wrap this baby up.
Yeah, well, I think, this is such a great event, especially considering that we're bringing a lot of, like-minded individuals to kind of contribute to a greater cause, which is boosting up the startup ecosystem here in the Philippines. And I give a lot of credit to Geeks on a Beach for doing that.
I totally agree. You know, my first bootcamp startup was in 1998, and it's just finally awesome 15 years later to have you know, Tina and Dave organize such an event in the world's best beach, no less. So thank you very much for listening to this panel. We got a lot of good insights here. Thank you.
All right, thank you, panelists. We want to wish these guys the best. I mean, these are some of the startups that we're talking about that are making a headway in the Philippines. So congratulations to all of you guys. Stephen, there was also a question. Are you thinking of setting up maybe a Boracay office for adventure, you know, engineering here? Or Bali? Okay, there you go. Lots of options. So Paul Pajo, wherever you are, he's interested. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Jack. We'll have the certificates of print presented by Tina. And then the usual photo taking. Again, panelists, thank you guys. Let's put our hands together for these startup founders.
Thank you.
Okay, before we take our next little break, Tina here has something to announce for tomorrow.
Can I have Janet Terrell to come up, please? We want to invite you to tomorrow, Friday morning's women's breakfast. And again, the qualification is...
Here she's coming. She's coming.
A woman or supportive of women. We're
So
very inclusive, so...
So I can't go.
Well, are you supportive of women?
I support women, yes.
Just for you, it's a minimum of $2,000.
Okay, I won't be there.
Janet, there you are.
Hi, everyone. We'd like to invite you tomorrow for the Women in Tech Breakfast. And I promise also to Tina that we will be sharing our first e-commerce index and maturity scorecard based on our research last week of August. So we'll be sharing some of our results on that tomorrow. So for those of you who will be joining, whether you're a girl or you support women, I said because I love girls, you support women, I hope you will come. Thank you.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know Janet, does anybody not know Janet Terrell? DigitalFilipino.com. Say something. Their purpose. Sermon doesn't. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina and Janet. So yeah, all joking aside, that is a women's breakfast, women only. We do support, you know, equality in this field, and it's something that's long been lacking. So we're passionate about that. We're excited about that. And we were gonna have a networking break, but I think you guys have networked pretty effectively. If you want coffee or more snacks, it's still available over here. But we're gonna go ahead and go into our next presentation.
Okay, our next presentation will be by Josh Villanueva from Rappler. Michael Josh is a multimedia journalist and founding member of social news network Rappler.com. As Rappler's director for special projects, he splits time heading the network's social media team, organizing events like the annual Social Good Summit, and overseeing the development of its iOS and Android apps. He also produces and anchors the weekly tech show Tech Rap and travels the globe to speak on behalf of technology for social good. So, we'd like to ask Josh to come up, and let's give him a big round of applause.
All right. I think Josh is working on his PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, we are making him nervous.
So in the meantime, what I would like to say is we still have the fire pitches. Those are happening at 5 p.m. right after this. So if you haven't signed up, go ahead and sign up. For those of you who have signed up or are interested in doing it, it's going to be a quick format. So you have 2 minutes. That's 120 seconds.
And
So-
if you're done with 120 seconds, we will put you off the stage politely.
Yeah, we're bringing in security to basically.
Yeah, if you resist, you should not because
Yeah.
it will be dangerous.
We'll bring you down as if it was a pork barrel scam or something.
Okay, Josh is here, so let's
All right.
get out. All right, let's put our hands together once again for Josh Villanueva.
Hello. Good afternoon. I know it's a long day, and I'm glad it's raining outside, so there's no other reason for you to be out. I know a lot of you, I want to be outside and enjoy the beach, but what I have to talk about today is a little bit different about what you've heard today from all the panelists and the speakers who have come forward this morning. But before I begin, let me just run you by some things about me, just to get things out of the way, okay? Shall we? Let's look over here. 33 is a number that's important to know. Just in case you're wondering, I'm turning 33. A lot of people say, my boss always says that she thinks I look 12. So just to get that out of the way, I'm turning 33 next month. I joined Instagram on day 1 when it launched. I joined Twitter 17 days too late to get the username @Josh, so I'm kind of upset about that. In my spare time, and I have very little spare time, I like to play Minecraft. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's does anybody play Minecraft here? A couple of you guys, great. Back when it was not really a big thing, I used to do podcasting, but there was hardly any interest in podcasting, at least locally back then, so I was basically talking to an international audience. And I guess like they said in the intro, I host a weekly tech show called Tech Rap. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that just like all of you today, I'm a geek, and I'm proud to be a geek. Maybe not as geeky as some of the other guys, but I'm proud to be a geek, and I think all of us should wear fly our geek flags. So when I turned 30, I hit like a midlife crisis. I was about a decade into my career with a very popular TV network in the Philippines. And I felt like I wanted more. I wanted more out of life. I knew there was something. I wanted to find a higher purpose, not just in what I do in my free time, but also in what I do every day. And I found this quote from Apple's Think Different campaign circa 1997. And here's a line that really stuck out to me. It says, "Because the people who are crazy enough to change the world are the ones that do." A lot of times we think about changing the world and we think about it as such something that can't really happen. It's like a lofty goal, a lofty dream. But I think there's truth to this, and I know, and I've seen this topic repeated over and over again this afternoon. And so I want to start with this. When I joined Rappler.com as one of the founding members, I think it was probably the best decisions of my life. Because at Rappler, this is basically our goal. We want to be able to, we're a social news network, and we want to be able to change the way people look at news, but we also want to be able to ignite a thirst for change through digital action, through conversations that we have online. Now, Rappler is basically, we have 3 pillars. One is professional journalism, and I have a decade's worth of experience as a journalist, but we have journalists in Rappler who have a long career, decades worth of experience as journalists. And we believe that as a news organization, that is our core. But we believe in 2 other pillars. The second is technology. When I was working for a TV network, there was an engineering department where I worked. But I guess I was positioned in such a way that I was the geek in the newsroom, the techie in the newsroom who knew exactly what the needs of the newsroom were. So even if we had an engineering department, I had to step up to the plate to a certain extent to push for some innovation. And I think that's the way it works in companies today. You have to, all of us need to be techies. We all need to be geeks in a way. aside on top of whatever it is that we do. So technology is part of the backbone of Rappler. And last but not least, the wisdom of a crowd. And that's something that I want to talk about today. We at Rappler believe that there is power out there. There's a lot of information out there. And also, there is power in what we can do together. So because we're a beast that can't really be described, we had to coin a new name, a new word for our company. And Rappler basically is a fusion of two words. Rap, which means to discuss. Maybe this is circa 1980s talk, but it means to discuss. And ripple, to create waves. So let's go back to social media. Social media is a big part of Rappler and is a big part of what I do at Rappler. Now, this is a screen grab from my Android phone. And I want to see, this is probably a question that doesn't need to be asked, but I just want to see a show of hands. Who uses Facebook here? Great, great. Is there anybody not on Facebook here? We have one guy back there. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Twitter, who's on Twitter? Okay, who's on Instagram? And who's on Google+? So when you look at these icons, these app icons, what do these app icons mean to you? What does it tell you? And now I'm not asking you to define social media per se. I'm asking about what social means to you in your daily life. I say it's different strokes for different folks. For example, for some people, social media is all about taking selfies. And I guess I'm guilty of that a lot, because this is not from my post. It's one of my colleagues at one of my producers at Rappler. He took a picture of me taking a selfie before we taped the show. So for some people, it's about taking selfies. It's about being able to post their photos online. Can we have an audio connected to the? Let me scroll back. For some people, it's about expression. And this is, let me scroll back.
Hi, Troy.
Oh, you got the punch. We'll do it. Can we do it again, please? Okay. For some people, it's about expression. This is my friend Casey.
I'm looking for Maria Ressa. I heard she's here.
Maria! Maria Ressa! Where are you? Maria!
It's Maria Ressa! Maria Ressa! There she is.
Hi, Troy.
So Casey, Maria, this is really planned. Casey's goal was really to get Maria to do a video with her on Instagram, and basically he asked Maria to pretend that she thought he was his brother Troy. But for some people, social media is about expression. It's about being able to express your feelings and thoughts. Some people just rant on social media a lot. Casey does that through funny videos. For some people, it's about communication. And I just got back from a couple of trips, and I'm a really bad son. So I think my mom uses Facebook to communicate with me, not even through the private messaging service, but through comments. So I was covering an event in Berlin, and I got back just for a few hours, got a new bag, and flew off to Singapore. And so I posted this picture of the rainy welcome in Singapore, and my mom goes, "You are in Singapore? I didn't get to see you. Bring home some prawn rolls." And so that's how my mom found out I was in Singapore. So for some people, social media is about communication. And even on the Twitter sphere, when we post our tweets on the public timeline, sometimes we use it to, even with friends, even if we can text them or call them, we use it to like arrange a movie date or seeing each other for dinner and that kind of thing. So social media is about communication for some people. Social media is about connecting. And I guess if you really think about it, social media is weaved into the very fiber that is our lives. It can start from, trivial things like all those examples that I showed you earlier, especially my selfies. But it also can go to the other end of the spectrum and be something significant. And when I say significant, it can be something significantly bad. I have some examples for you. Does anybody know who this person is? He's Eli Buendia. He was the lead singer of Eraserheads. Now, a couple of years ago, this was from last year actually, 2012, Ellie's name was trending in the Philippines. Does anyone know why? Because rumors spread that he had passed away, because Ellie was sick at that time, and I think it happened once or twice. And basically, this is what Ellie had to say about it. Nothing is permanent, including death. And then he tweeted again, next time na may magkalat na patay na ako, di na talaga ako maniniwala. He said, next time someone says that I'm dead, I'm not going to believe it anymore. Now, it's funny, and he was able to really put a funny spin to it, but it's not always funny. Here's another example. Do you guys know who this is? I was not informed. This is Christopher Lau. If you don't know about it, I'm going to play a video. I'm going to go ahead and play this next video to refresh your memory. This is from YouTube, but it's actually a video from one of the local TV networks.
Dapat i-inform. I should have been informed. Dapat i-inform. I should have been informed.
And it's been edited a bit. So you can see here it's flooded. The video is showing his car approaching from the other side of the road and attempting to go through the floods. From this angle, it's pretty obvious that the water is really, really deep. But I guess from his angle, it wasn't pretty obvious. And so his car floated, basically. And when he reached the other side, with the help of these boys, the reporter, who is actually a friend of mine, had a different line of questioning. So this is how he responded.
Because they should have already blocked the road. Bakit kami at iba pang tao sa lugar? Hindi ng driver. Hindi mo alam na ganun siya kalalim. Wala, kasi tingnan mo, who will tell me? Who will tell me? Really? Did you guys even tell me? Ay, well, nandito kami. O yun, sino ba yung mga nandun? Nandito kami. Na-surprise niya kami. At sino yung mga nandun sa side na yun? Did anyone tell? Wala, nobody even stopped. Nobody informed. It's like people were waiting for somebody to just do that. Pero hindi mo ba na-realize na baka malalim? Why do you inform? Bakit ako? Diba?
So flabbergasted, emotionally upset, he goes over and over saying, I was not informed, I was not informed. And it was funny. There were memes online, you know, there were so many iterations of the meme, and I must admit that I may have had a chuckle or two when I saw those memes spread. And it's easy to make fun about someone we don't know or care about. But last year, at last year's Social Good Summit, we met him, and he spoke for the first time. He basically came out, and he told us that he had to go into hiding, he had to get therapy, and this is a quote from him that I will never forget. He said, I will live the rest of my life healing from these wounds. Social media can be so damaging to the point that it can ruin someone's life. So when I say significantly bad, and I talk about the mundane things, the trivial things, we also need to look at what social media can do on the extreme end of the spectrum, including something as bad as this. Of course, it can also be something significantly good. And I guess that's really what I want to talk about today, social media for social good. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. There's probably a lot of examples online of international case studies where we saw how social media really did something great. But we can look directly at the Philippines, and this is an example from just a few weeks ago. And it's an example that really gets me excited about the power of social media locally. This is #MillionPeopleMarch. And it all started with one girl posting on Facebook. This girl is not, and I've talked to some of the people who helped organize this, she was not one of the mobilizers. She didn't really feel like mobilizing people. So she just posted about this on Facebook. And people who felt her, who believe in her and also agree with her, and who were mobilizers stepped in and helped put together this. Not 1 million people, but enough to really make an impact. And the cool thing about this was there were really no official organizers. It was just people coming in and helping out and doing it together, all sparked because of conversations that were happening on social media. So before I dive into concrete next action steps, sorry for being very literal. Sorry, can you help me out with the next slide? Let's go over some quick figures. I'll do this very quickly. In the whole world, there are about 2.4 billion internet users. In the Philippines, there are about 34 million Filipinos online. That represents about 35% of Filipinos. I'm sure you know all of this. In Asia, the average time that an Asian spends online is 3 hours, but in the Philippines, that jumps up all the way to 8.7 hours. Filipinos spend a lot of time online. And social networking is the most popular online activity, not only in the Philippines, but in the world. In the Philippines, there are 34 million Facebook users. And I guess the point that I'm trying to raise here is that there's a lot of potential. You know, you just have to cast your net, and there's a lot of potential, and there are a lot of things that you can do. So at Rappler, I basically have 3 lessons that I learned in trying to use social media for social good. Let me go over them quickly. First, social media gives us a voice. For the first time ever, you can see people, and when I was podcasting back in the day, I wasn't a TV personality, but I was broadcasting from my room with a mic, and there were and my servers would crash because I was speaking to people mostly in the US and Canada at that time. But if someone like me who wasn't anybody, you know, could go online and just say something and get people to listen. And these days, with just some girl posting on Facebook, she wasn't really a popular girl, but her, just one little post on Facebook could achieve something as great as that. It's amazing. It gives us a voice. And so what should we do about it? What should we do about the voice that we get on social media? We all need to tell stories. We all need to be able to go out there and really, you know, tell stories about what's important to us. And that's what we try to do at Rappler. We try to get people to share stories. Next, social media connects us. And if you've heard presentations from people at Rappler, you've probably seen graphs like this. This is something that we do at Rappler. We call them our Twitter maps. And you can go into this and you can actually log in. This is a Twitter map, that we did for the Corona trial. Can you press back? There you go. And what's important about this is seeing these connections, is seeing that we are really not alone, that we are all somehow connected. And when we have these conversations online, it can reach within our networks, but it also can expand into what we call the human superorganism. So we should mobilize. We should use it as an opportunity to really mobilize. And if you have a cause that's important to you, then you can use social media to go out there and try to reach a wider demographic. And the last lesson is that social media empowers us. And this is a theme that I heard repeated over and over again today. This is something that probably one of my biggest life's lessons. It's to dream and to act beyond our circumstance. Recently, I met this lawyer who comes from a very poor family in the Philippines. And he wanted to be a lawyer, but he couldn't afford it. But he still moved to Manila, and he found all sorts of jobs. And eventually, he was able to pay his way to law school. And never, at one point, did he ever think, hey, I come from a poor family. I can never be a lawyer because I can't afford it. And that's something I've also learned covering Manny Pacquiao over the years. I would always ask him, what are you going to do if you lose? And I know he's been on a losing streak lately, and I always prayed very hard when I covered him that he would never lose when I covered him, because that would be terrible. But every time I would ask him, what are you going to do if you lose? He couldn't answer the question because there was no negative thought in his mind. And I realized that the power of the human brain is such that if we can dream beyond what we feel we can do, then actually we go beyond the human limitations that our mind puts upon us, and we can do greater things. We can climb Mount Everest if we want to. I'm going to end with a Social Good Summit. It's an event that tries, and it's happening globally. It's happening in New York right now. We did it last Saturday in Manila. And it basically wants to use technology. And how can we find innovative solutions to solve the world's problems using technology and social media? How can we do that? And when we thought about the problem that the country is currently facing, we thought about this. There's one more figure I want to leave you with today. The Philippines is the third most disaster-prone nation in the world. And so when we pinpointed a problem that we wanted to solve using technology and social media, we thought about disasters. And so we came out with a platform that's called Project Agos. It's an initiative that brings together, for the first time, the government bought into this, the private sector, and citizens into a disaster information platform. And this you'll find interesting because basically we're trying to address preparedness, response, and recovery. And I'm just going to show you the tool that we've put together for response. This tool automatically listens to the Twitter sphere. So you can tweet with a hashtag, and you can text, and you can fill up a form. But even if you don't do any of that, as long as you just tweet about it on social media, our system will listen to it, and artificial intelligence will process that data, and it will map it. And for the first time ever, not only citizens have a panel, but we're also giving local government responders a panel so that they can see which areas need help and get help to the areas that need it the most. So they get a panel as well. And they can also give us, using the response tab, let people know that help is on its way. And of course, we give the national government a tab so that we can also address this. But this is a bigger initiative that requires all sorts of different kinds of people. And so, let me just show you this video. This is a crowdsourced video that we got from a contributor. These are texts and tweets coming in, calls for help. Okay, I'm gonna quickly show you just the last, and I'm wearing a t-shirt today. So at the Social Good Summit, sorry, I'm going to skip through some of my slides. Can you go ahead and, yeah. So I'm asking you again, social media for social good, what can I do? How can I help? And so at the Social Good Summit, we basically made a call out for heroes. And that's why I'm wearing this t-shirt today. A lot of times, think of heroes as people who have gone out of their way and given their lives and sacrificed their lives for a greater cause. But hero, you don't really need to do that to be a hero. And I think the call out that I want to give to you today is that if everyone can also take out the time to be a hero. And we outlined some tasks. And it's really interesting because if you take a look at your tagline, it's bringing together tech innovators from startups to global heroes. You too, this event is also about finding the heroes in all of us, the hero in all of us. So what do we need? We need creative professionals. We have a message. We need creative professionals that can do art like this so that we can simplify the message and get people interested about the message. We need online messengers, and we were able to sign up blogging partners to spread the message that we craft with the help of the government. And then my friend Casey's company, Ad Influence, his celebrity network, is also going to tweet out these messages. You guys can also have a part to play in that. Then we need offline trainers, people to get the messages to those who are not online. Volunteer mappers. This is something that you might find interesting. Google Map Maker is an important tool that helps us map the Philippines. And if you go to the US, you can see detailed information about every nook and cranny, every street, but not in the Philippines. And we need those maps to be built so that when disaster strikes, we have maps so that we know we can get attention to those people in the remote areas. Curators of our database. While our database is run by artificial intelligence, we need people to kick in the first 3 hours or first 4 hours of a disaster so that we can make our artificial intelligence smarter. Relief volunteers. And I guess, especially for Geeks on the Beach, a couple of things. We need idea generators. We need the next big idea. How can we help play a part in disaster risk response, reduction, and management? App developers. There's a lot of you in the room today. Let's think about ideas and what kind of apps we can build to address this problem. And I know there are a lot of hero funders here today as well. So I guess that's my call out to you folks. Social media is merely a tool, and I get criticized about that a lot because they think I'm preaching about it being the end-all, be-all. But it is not. It's just a tool. And whether or not it's used to do great things really relies on what you do with it. So think about the crazy ones. And I wish that you guys are all crazy enough to think that in your own way, you can do something to change the world.
Thank you, Josh. Josh, actually, we'll have you stay on stage. I'll call Tina Emper to present a certificate of appreciation. Thank you very much for that inspiring speech. All right, thank you, Josh. Wow. That was inspiring, and I personally have a lot of interest in the nonprofit kind of startup sector. So I think we can all collaborate. We can all do something good with that. Wow.
All right, what's next?
Well, it's time to set the house on fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody who signed up for the fire pitches, I want you to line up right here, right now. Quickly. This is going to be quick. And so everybody who signed up, please line up here right now. So I'm going to call them up. Raymond Bermejo, Dan Angelo de Guzman, Alexandra Enieco, Hiteshi Danuani of Blim, Minette, Viloria, Edir Ibanez, Chao Paredes, Zach Elep, and Kokoy Jurado. Please come forward quickly. All right.
All right, so this is fire pitch. We're gonna move fast. You only have 2 minutes. You know, we've done a few things with Startup Weekend, so we'll follow a similar format as that. So the idea is you want to present your problem, you want to present the solution, and kind of talk about where you are, what you have. A lot of these teams are actually startups, so they can kind of give us an update on what's going on. And then the last is kind of a call to action. A very good example was what Josh just did, giving us what do you need? What's the call to action? Do you need users? Do you need people to fund you? Things like that. So if we can get this mic turned on.
Check, check, check. All right, our microphone is live. Do I have the people over here? Please sign up. All right, we are setting up our timer. And by the way, guys, I had a few people ask me specifically if there will be fire pitches today. And they were investors. And so maybe there are also other people here who are looking for potential partners or co-founders, or they may be developers and you may be hiring. So whatever it is you're pitching, give it your best. We are going to give you 2 minutes each. All right? And I also like to ask our audience to be part of this. Every time one of our pitcher finishes, let's just give them a big round of applause, because we know we've been there once. We've done that, and it's not that easy. So let's just, as geeks together, let's support each other and do just that. Okay?
I have
Deal? All right, Sample, give me a round of applause. Okay.
All
Let's
right.
get started. All right, let's kick it off. Raymond Bermejo of Matrobe. You got 2 minutes, buddy. Go.
All right.
Timer starts now.
In style and fashion, we believe that art and data science should work together, that we can connect the dots to create more beautiful products and sell them beautifully well. In Matchrobe, we're building simple fashion apps designed to be fun and addictive, to collect and organize people's tastes in style. We currently have 2 apps in development. First, the Style Discover app, which is here right now with me, which rewards you for window shopping on your phone, which I can show you later. It's really pretty cool. To investors, I hope we can talk later. We'll be needing $30,000 for seed, full-time salaries, cloud services, and I'd be very happy to send you slide decks soon. I would also love to talk to anyone in the fashion industry who's here right now, or in any related industry like modeling and talent industry. I'm very happy to announce, but at the end of next week, we will have an open beta for the first version of Style Discover. Everyone in this room is invited to sign up at www.matchdrobe.com. Thank you. I am Red Bermeo from Matchdrobe. Thank you very much.
All right, let's put our hands together. Great job.
Now up next we have Dan Angelo de Guzman from Rocket Labs Software.
All right.
Hi everybody, my name is Dan. I'm the founder of Rocket Labs, and we are Rocket Labs Software. So what do? We are trying to solve the traditional training setup in the enterprise world, in the academia. We're in time-consuming and very costly. So we want to block all the barriers to advanced learning. So what do? So we are an enterprise-grade training software as a service platform, which helps organizations and external subject matter experts to design and create knowledge-based contents from the ground up with hands-on labs. So think of technologies like Cisco, Microsoft, and Linux servers in the enterprise worlds and the academe. So we want to bridge the gap between all these specific suspects, like the academe and the organizations, wherein they could do virtual lab hands-on as well, to have this hands-on experience. We just created and we just finished our very first version of our prototype, and we're actually raising $150,000 for engineering, business development, and to scale the infrastructure. We've already talked to and having ongoing negotiations with one of the top engineering schools in Manila and one of the small technical consulting firms in the country. And we're planning to scale in Southeast Asia and to United States once our platform will be on that stage. So first of all, how are we going to make money? So the first side of the business model is to actually have the enterprise-based subscription as a SaaS-based model. And then the second one is an opportunity to have a community-based public subscription, wherein we also offer royalty share for subject matter experts who can create the courses in our platform. www.gorocketlabs.com. My name is Dan, and I'm the founder of Rocket Labs. Have a great evening.
Up next, we have Alexandra Enyeko of Keep Up.
Hi guys, I'm Alex and I'm from Ateneo de Davao University. Team Keep Up is composed of 4 students from Ateneo, and we can all program, we're all under IT. So what is Keep Up about? We are familiar with Eventbrite and Meetup, right? So they are basically event organizing applications. Keep Up is sort of like that. We want to cater to event organizers, and we also want to cater to event goers, us. So how will we know if there's an event somewhere, like the Gin Blossoms are going to have a concert in Araneta, or even maybe other events like GoApp? We can actually go to the application that is found mobile. So what are we looking for? We are open for help, any kind of help. We are looking for investors. And also for our business model, we want a freemium. We want to establish a community first. So we're going to have the freemium model, and then when we get enough hype for the app, then we're going to enter into potential sponsorship. And yeah, so I'm welcome to talk about more. I can show you our prototype. We have our UIs, and we're willing to work as soon as maybe mid-October, because we're students and we still have our theses. But yeah, so keep up with Keep Up at facebook.com/keepup.now. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Next up from Plim, we have Hitesh Danwani.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm Hitesh Danwani from Team Plim. Plim is an augmented reality social sharing experience that allows you to set up virtual landmarks in places for the world to see. So for example, you are here in Boracay and you had so much fun. You want to leave a landmark here so that future people who come here can see your landmark. So when you leave a landmark here, it can be public for everyone to see, private for someone, or personal for just someone special. So, for example, you want to leave love notes for someone around the house, you can put virtual landmarks for personal use only. You can, you have climbed Mount Apo, and you can put a landmark there so that future climbers can see that you have been there to Mount Apo. So it's an augmented reality social sharing experience, and it has lots of potential uses. We can create Wikipedia-like user entry for particular landmarks. For example, for this place, we can create a landmark so that people can edit, we recommend this food, we would like you to try this place, this area, ganon. It can also be that you can also excuse me. You can also try treasure hunting games. Corporate sponsors can sponsor treasure hunting games around the city using their virtual landmarks so that when you pass by the landmark, your phone notifies you and you can see the landmark. The contents of the landmark are a picture and a caption. As of now, nothing has been developed yet because all of us are students. We are fourth-year IT students from the Ateneo de Davao University, 3 of us, while one is a fourth-year student from the UIC in Davao, and one is a graduate. So we have an excellent team. All are developers, and one is a marketer, the famous game doc of Davao City. So what we need investors and we need mentors, especially on the business side, since on the technical side, we are capable, we are
5
also open
seconds.
to your help. So guys, PLIM is short for Place Your Mark. So thank you, everybody.
Time's up. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Minette Viloria of pbenefits.com.
Good evening, everyone. I am Minette Viloria. I am a virtual assistant, and that I see the importance of having our benefits being paid on time. That's why we have pbenefits.com. It's an online solutions provider for those who doesn't have the time to pay their SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. And this solution will help you make your contributions on time by sending your payments online. And what makes this pbenefits that go better is there's a real-time updating of your contributions so that you don't have to wait for the next day or for another week for you to see your payments posted on time, because there is no other time for us to make our contributions due but right now, because our future depends on what we do today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minette.
That's great. And if you're out there and you're thinking, hey, I want to pitch, you can still get in on this. Just come get in line over here on the right-hand side.
Then write your name on a piece of paper in your company and then hand it over to me secretly. I'm just kidding. You can just give it to me. All right, up next, we have Eddie Ibanez of MyCab.
Hello, my name is Eddie Ibanez from MyCab, your hippiest personal cab assistant. It lets your smartphone get a cab with or without internet. It connects passengers to the drivers. It's safe, easy, and convenient. We have just soft launched last Monday and have 60 taxis already running in Cebu and targeting to have 500 next month. We need partners who can help us expand our business here in the Philippines and next in the ASEAN region. Check us out at mycab.co. Thank you.
How do you spell that? How do you spell that? Can you spell mycab.co?
Yeah, mycab.co. MICAB.co.
It's MICAB.co. Thank you. Up next, we have Chao Paredes of zipmatch.com.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chao Paredes, and I'm a co-founder of zipmatch.com. The problem that we're trying to solve with real estate is that there's no centralized database for listings in the Philippines. We have 3 simple solutions for it. First is to aggregate listings from all resources available. That includes licensed real estate brokers, their associations, even the government, the banks, and real estate developers. Second is creating a broker solution or a broker network solution, much like LinkedIn for brokers, wherein they can view their profiles, create their profiles, connect with one another, and share their listings and their clients. Third is our special match algorithm, wherein you can input your requirements and our system spits out several listings that would suit you. Those are 3 solutions that we're doing to monetize on lead generation with a whopping cost per lead of $3 per lead and a 5% conversion on our website. This is a perfect solution for 21,000 real estate brokers in the Philippines, over 150 real estate developers, and about 6 banks. In a nutshell, ZipMatch is real estate made easy for all those people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chao. All right, up next, we have Zach Elep of Yo-Yo. Hurry up, man. One.
I'm Zach. I'm a lead engineer for Yo-Yo. I'm not even a founder or anything. I'm just pitching for Yo-Yo. We've been around since October, and we have this product called Candy, can-d.ph. The problem it seeks to solve is trying to connect consumers and users with brands and advertisers, and to enable them to cater to these brands and advertisers with an incentive of load. So this product is actually, we launched it just last couple of months ago, and even before, we have a short beta last March. We already now have around 25,000 registered users. And we're here today primarily to seek support and funding for the project, because we seek to expand. We actually are doing a small pivot of our own. We're going to try to cater to smartphones, because the Candy platform right now is actually a very basic SMS platform, so it doesn't even need smartphones to work. So if you're interested, please approach me or my CTO, who's also another Zach. He's right there, and we hope to be able to meet out with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Up next. Oh, wait. Our round of applause are like, come on. Let's put these guys on fire. All right. Next up, we have Kokoy Jurado of Indie Metro.
Hi, my name is Kokoy Jurado, and I'm pitching for Indie Metro. One thing that I've noticed is that independent film creators or directors have a hard time reaching their audience. I cannot wait for every film festival for them to be able to show their movies. So we think, what would be the best way to connect independent filmmakers with their target audience? So that's why we came up with Indie Metro. Indie Metro is a platform where independent filmmakers can feature their films and monetize them directly to the consumer, while the consumer or the independent film enthusiast can actually look at the film. So it's a direct consumer to producer relationship without the middle management or without major media companies trying to stifle them down. The prototype is up, it's finished, you can test it, you can download it. What I need is marketing support for early adapters infrastructure. We currently have 4 fun movies in the platform. We would need, I would need a mentor on how to take this further. We would need more developers to be able to expand the technology to other platforms. Basically, I just want to make the independent filmmaker earn more money and give the content the independent film enthusiasts want. With that, that's basically it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kokoy. Okay, up next we have, his name is Hoshi, and his company is called Scopy.
Hi, my name is Toshi from Japan. Today, I'd like to introduce my mobile application, Scoopy. Scoopy is a mobile loyalty card application. So now, so many pictures are uploaded on Facebook, Twitter, such as social medias. So like food or selfie at the hair salon or family picture at the theme park. So what if you guys could get a reward from doing such a routine performance? So Scoopy makes it a reality. So users just take a picture at the shop, for example, food or selfie pictures after you got a haircut. And the picture become a point. And the user collect a point picture to get a reward. And the picture goes on Facebook automatically. So for users, it's really easy to upload, share their experience on Facebook. So that's one thing, good thing for users. So therefore, merchants, shops can use Scoopy as not only as a loyalty card program, but also as a word of mouth marketing tool. So it means more effective compared with other advertisement. So Scoopy is
15 seconds.
Scoopy makes the relation between customer and shops more deeper, and they can enjoy their relation more fun. Just check scoopy.asia, S-C-O-P-P-Y.
Time's up.
Asia. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Toshi.
Thanks, Toshi.
All right, next up we have Avner from Engage Spark.
Hey everyone. Imagine you work at an NGO that wants to help farmers improve on their farming techniques. And the only way you can reach them, because they're very poor, is via a basic mobile phone where they can receive SMS messages or voice calls. And you want to create an educational curriculum where you send them weekly messages if they're illiterate via a phone call or if they can read via an SMS. Right now, you can't really do something like that unless you hire an outside technology firm to build a platform for you, and it probably won't be that sophisticated after all. At Engage Spark, we've built a very sophisticated platform focused on enabling NGOs to send important information and collect important data from poor, literate, and illiterate people throughout the world via SMS and voice. And I'm pitching this because we're looking for Python, Java, and front-end developers. So if you have those skills or know anybody who does who's looking for a job, please contact me. From a front-end side, we're looking for people with CSS, HTML, and JavaScript and jQuery skills. I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Avner.
All right, next up we have Alan Sanchez from Vilio.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Alan Sanchez, tech founder of Vilio.com. So the problem, 9 million overseas Filipinos. These are our relatives, our families, skilled workers, and I'm one of them. I flew back here to be with you guys. The problem is they have limited access to shows, to their beloved shows, Philippine shows. And I actually found that to be my problem too. And I'm building a solution, Vilio.com, which is going to be online TV portal, free for premium Philippine TV shows. I know there's one big, very TV network that's already doing this, but I know there are other TV networks that are willing to have their global audience to be to give their shows to more global audience. And the business model is like for Viki and Hulu.com, which is ad revenue sharing. Most of the percentage of the ad revenue sharing will go to the content providers. And what I need, I do need a business partner. I'm more on the technical side. For people who are connected to the big TV networks, I already have some people helping me out with that. I do need more from and funding for building this team. And anyone you want to approach me, I'm Alan Sanchez again from Vilio.com. Thanks.
Thank you, Alan.
All right, next up is Baptiste Leroux from geomolding.org.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, sorry because I was not supposed to do the fire pitch, so it might not be so clear. But let's imagine a world where you're traveling around in developing countries and you're geolocalized, and you know that 5 miles away from you there is a place that needs a little thing as a pen, and you will be able to say from your application, hold on, there is a social organization really next to me where I can go and help as little as a pen, but like summing all the crowd here we will make a big difference. And actually, it's not only about helping, but it's as well about like changing the mindset of people and the way we interact with each other. So we are building up this application right now. I've got business partners on the marketing and the financial part. We've got 4 developers here. We are incorporating this application under an NPO in California, hopefully, because we are kind of working on more the Kiva model and trying to partner with corporations that are that have already outreach programs. Basically, we are 1 billion travelers every year traveling the world and only going to nice places as Boracay. It's very fine, but 1 mile away from the Regency Resort, there is a place where we can just go and help as little as a pen. That application will be launched very, very soon. It's gonna be a closed beta. So what are we looking for? We are looking for travelers that will be able to help us in listing all those organizations. We've got already 500 orphanages that are in our application. But the number of orphans or schools that need help.
Time's up. All right. Thanks, Baptiste.
Thank you. geomulink.org soon.
Thank you. Round of applause, please.
All right. Well, I feel like Josh's speech inspired a lot of guys. We've already had 2 kind of social causes that are up here. And next up, we have Christian Atz from Black Force Accelerator. Christian, let us have it.
Hello, everyone. Instead of pitching my startup, I'm pitching a startup accelerator. I'm here today with Dimitri, and we are working for the Black Forest Accelerator. It's a program which lasts from May until August in 2014, and we are inviting international startups who work in the healthcare and fitness industry and who have innovative and disruptive ideas. We provide around $20,000 seed funding, 3 months of co-working space, and a lot of fun with the organizing team and mentors from all over Germany and Europe. Black Forest is in the southern part of Germany, close to Switzerland, Belgium, and France, so great opportunities to network with Western Europe and just have a good time. Thank you very much. We are also open for investors who would like to co-invest and network with Germany and France. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Christian. Very good.
All right, so for our last fire pitch, let's put our hands together for Saiza Yape of PremCRent.ph.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Saiza Yape of Philippine Real Estate Management Solutions Incorporated. Our product is, or our startup is Rent.ph and CondoSwap.ph. So Rent.ph is actually a website. It's the #1 rental property website at the moment here in the Philippines, and we are catering renters, property owners, real estate brokers, and real estate agents to post their properties for rent on Rent.ph. And it's not only a listing or catering properties, but we are actually serving as well, selling non-life insurance to our clients and renters. And we are actually open for investors as well and partnerships with your startups and companies. It's actually a startup from Cebu City. And for the CondoSwap.ph, it's literally a condo swap. So it's a membership site for condo owners where if you own a condo in Cebu and someone owns a condo in Manila, and then you communicate and swap places or swap condo units for a month or a few days. So that's us. Please visit us at www.rent.ph. And also our social media sites, Facebook, Twitter,
10 seconds.
Pinterest, and Google Plus, Rent PH. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Siza. And we still have one more.
He snuck up.
He snuck up, yeah.
And this is our final call. If there's anyone else, come now or forever hold your peace. I mean, until the next go-ab.
All right, let's call this next guy up for last fire pitch, Mr. Mike of OK Great. Round of applause, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Mike. I run my own website, OK Great, www.ok-gre.at. So I'm gonna throw in my pitch here. I'm looking for investors and developers. 3 ideas, you may steal it from me or whatever, I'm just gonna throw it here. Number 1, Wilder. Imagine Grindr for fetishists, or maybe pedophiles or people are on the wild side. Imagine selling the idea of fun. Special app or freemium or premium model. Think about it. Number 2, cloud for independent teachers. Have you watched educational videos like Vsauce, Veritasium, or Computer File? Imagine independent teachers wanting to get their own set of students with the same set of interests. Maybe premium, subscription level, or whatever. Think about it. Number 3, Finder for NGOs. If you're an NGO or a funder who wants to fund NGOs, make a central place on where NGOs and people who funds can collaborate and do their own projects. And also, fourth idea that I have in mind just right now. Imagine Craigslist for mercenaries or corporate spies. I'm gonna throw it out there. Thank you.
Wow, that was interesting, Mike.
One more. All right, thanks, Mike. I'm getting signals here that we have one more pitch. Come on down.
All right, come on up. You'd have to introduce yourself, okay?
All right.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Sasasi, co-founder of investstock.ph. Basically, it's a bulletin board for beginners who wants to trade in the stock market here in the Philippines. Also, we teach, my co-founders are licensed stockbrokers, and we have a resident lawyer at investstock.ph. We held seminars for beginners. We have an event on October 25 at the World Trade Exchange Binondo Business Center in Manila. Admiral Markets will be our sponsor, Business World. We're looking for sponsors and exhibitors for this event on October 25. Please approach me if you're interested. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. All right. Carlo, we have another.
This should be the last, man.
It should be?
Yeah, this should be the last.
Okay, Carlo, you're last. We've called it. Go ahead, man.
All right, let's put our hands together for Carlo.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I actually have 2 ideas that I want to talk about. The first one is the GoSee.com. Essentially, it's like Job Street, but for talents. So for marketing companies or organizations, the number 1 problem is how do you find the right talent to represent your brands during various activation and events. Through the GoSee, you have a network of models, singers, dancers, artists, whatever talent you need, everything is on that site. So all you have to do as a merchant is to create an account. So that's GoSee. Visit www.thegosee.com. The second idea is called Mobcard. The problem of merchants is how do they engage their merchants and how do they develop loyalty. Through Mobcard, merchants are given the ability to create real-time and location-based promotions. For example, if today is a lean day and a merchant wants to be able to sell a particular item because it's going to spoil in 2 days, the merchant can actually create a real-time promo right there and then at the branch and send it to members of their group so that there is no more wastage. Similarly, for example, if you're going to Greenbelt, for example, your app will be able to alert you with all the promos that are related to your particular brand. So visit mobcard.com. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Carlo.
To Carlo. And thank you to all our fire pitches. You know, that's it's a bold step to come up and stand in front of around 300 people and pitch your idea. So let's give them all a round of applause.
Talk about dinner.
Okay, let's talk about dinner. So dinner is coming up. And I'm going to go ahead and sit down on these couches because they look nice and comfy. If you look in your ID badge, you will see your kind of meal tickets.
I got one right here. Okay.
Okay, you got one. Because I don't have a meal ticket. I'm only an organizer. I think you don't either.
All right, so let's talk about dinner. Oh, I like the chair.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Nice, nice.
These are nice.
Okay, anyways. So we have 3 different restaurants assigned to our participants for dinner. So if you look at your meal stub, you're going to see there, it says dinner at, and it says nigi nigi, or it will say tilapia and chips.
Tilapia and chips.
Or it will say calypso.
Calypso. Ooh.
Calypso or something like that? I got that right?
Sounds nice. Calypso.
So everybody who has nigi nigi, raise your hand. Ooh, the nigi nigi crowd.
Oh, niki niki.
How about the tilapia and chips?
Oh,
All right.
okay, cool.
How about the calypso? All right, I
Oh,
got
that
it right.
sounds fun, man.
All right. So if you look in your tables, there is a map of how to get to your respective restaurants.
All right.
It says you are here, and then it says where the restaurant you should be. And feel free to ask directions also if you're confused or anything like that.
Yeah, people are very friendly out on the beach.
What time is dinner starting at? 7.
7 o'clock.
So you still have from now until 7 to have some fun, meet some people, meet other geeks. What else can they do?
And we have the AWS seminar.
That is right. We have over 80 people registered for the Amazon Web Services workshop.
Right, workshop, where we're giving away $1,000.
$1,000
in AWS credits.
All right. So where do they go, Dave?
I believe they go upstairs to the 3rd floor.
In the middle room.
In the middle room, right up here.
So you go out that door, then you go up, and then you go in the middle door again.
The middle.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if you sign up for the Amazon Web Services workshop, you have to go now.
Yep.
Now, right now.
Go
Like
now.
stand up
Now.
and right now and go there.
Start running.
All right, go there. And if you didn't, good news. You're free to network, talk to other geeks. This will be open.
Yes.
And you're free to talk and network with other people.
Or you can come join us on the couch if you
All right,
want.
yeah, you can also go here, have your photo taken with us, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who would want to do that.
I don't know, maybe some.
Maybe your wife and mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are our wives, Dave?
All right, guys, enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow or at dinner. Thanks for attending the first and inaugural Geeks on the Beach. Have a great day.